All right, folks. Today we are on the Trident 660. Something that I've been wanting to ride since they announced it, because I think this bike, for an entry-level bike, is one of the nicest bikes you can buy. So we got, sorry about that, ignition power on here. You gotta wait a minute and hit the ignition, and off we go. All right. Got the passenger pegs up, and I'll click those off. All right, so just to let you know about me, I am 5'6". I have about a 30-inch inseam. I will put down on the screen here the seat height for this bike, because can it get both feet on the ground nice and easy on this motorcycle? Gonna take care of my sleeves here. All right, so at my height and this seat height, this bike fits me really nicely. So if you're looking at this bike as a first motorcycle, we're going to talk about that today. Pretty simple controls here. Like I said, we have the power on and the ignition on the right with your hazards as well. You got your toggle through your menu here on the left, trip toggle. When you go left to right, up and down, we got the main menu. We don't want to get too into those as we go, because we want to keep our focus here on the road. Woo, all right, so nice sporty feel. For a 660, I mean, we're looking at, I'll put the horsepower and the torque numbers down here for you. But some pretty adequate power, and especially when you're looking at a starter bike, you know, you're not looking for something overwhelming, but something that you're not going to get bored with super quick. And that's what you're going to get, I think, with the Trident. It's got a really nice, unique, sleek look to it. You've got the badging, Trident badging here on the tank, also serving as a tank protector. So when you get your, you know, your knees up here against the tank, you're not going to destroy the finish here on the tank. I'm pretty sure we're just in standard mode, and we'll just keep it that way. But it's a fun bike. We're sitting nice and upright, slightly leaned forward, and we've got the controls right underneath your seat. And this is a really comfortable riding position. So for somebody that's looking at this bike as a first bike, as an entry-level bike, you're going to enjoy this very much. You know, it's got a standard exhaust sound. You know, aftermarket exhausts are going to be plentiful for a bike like this. That's probably, I'm guessing, is a fairly popular motorcycle. So even though it's got a nice little, your typical, I believe this is a parallel twin sound to it. I'll put the engine specs down, obviously, for you guys if I'm wrong about the parallel twin. But it's got a nice sound, a nice little 660 growl to it, and the exhaust has a nice little hum to it. But again, that's something you can adjust. You got your typical mirrors here, and I bet you could put bar end mirrors on this as well. You can probably slap some bar end mirrors on here. But as they are, I don't see a lot of shoulder, and these mirrors are a nice size, so no obstruction, not a lot of obstruction for your view behind you. The gentleman that helped me put me on this bike said that these are self-canceling turn signals, so we'll see here as we finish this turn if it cancels itself. And it did. All right, so that's nice. That's kind of a nice feature. I mean, it's, you know, we're not talking about like top of the line features here, but it's something that's nice, I think, and I'm not sure why it's not included on more motorcycles. It's something that I've struggled with going from a Harley Davidson that does have self-canceling turn signals to my KTM that does not, and so it's just something I've had to get used to over the last few years that I've been riding my Super Duke. Nice clear digital display here, and I like this classic round look here, but with the digital display. And let's see what else we can do here. Service interval. Oh, you can change the brightness here on the menu. Go to main menu. Let's see what we got here. Oh, riding modes. Let's try that. All right, let's go to road. We were in rain mode, so there we go. So rain mode was pretty sporty. Let's see how it feels in sport mode or road mode. There is no sport mode. You've just got the two ride modes that are available, rain and road, and we'll see how this feels. Maybe it was already in road mode, but we'll see. Let's see if it makes a noticeable difference for me. All right, so it looks like suspension is standard. You've got the upside down telescopic front forks, and then I'll put the specifications for the rear suspension in the back. Doesn't look like there's any adjustability here. Easy to find neutral there, that's nice. And a nice big indicator both here that you're in neutral and on the display. I like simple displays like this, especially on a bike that's like a entry-level starter bike, because what you've got here is what's important. You've got your fuel gauge, your tachometer, which shows you RPM, and then your speed, nice and big here in the center, as well as what gear you're in. These are all, I think, the most important things, especially as a new rider, to look at, and they're all there standard. Oh yeah, so I don't think we were in sport mode, because this does feel a little sportier in this version. And because we're on such a small bike here, I think we're gonna split here and get to the front of this, because got a big truck here. Maybe we won't. Oh, unless I can get in front of the Civic first, and then, yeah, nice and maneuverable. That's what I love about small bikes like this. And if you're wondering, we've got police here right in front of me. Lane splitting is legal in California, so no trouble to be had here. So yeah, nice giddy up here on the Trident 660. It's a nice comfortable ride. This seat makes it feel like I'm being pushed forward towards the tank, because of the lean angle on it. And lean angle is the wrong word, because obviously lean angle means something else, but it does make me feel like I'm being pushed towards the tank. It has a nice material on it though, so it grips my pants. I don't feel like I'm sliding here on the seat, but it's not a super soft or a super firm seat. But on a bike like this, especially on an entry-level bike, I don't know how long I could be in this saddle before it starts getting uncomfortable. But if you're just riding this as a commuter, like 20-30 miles back and forth, I think you're going to find that this is going to be a really solid bike for you for a while. And when I say that, it doesn't just have to do with its performance, but I think the styling on this bike is really nice. And if you're buying this like as a first bike, you're not going to get bored super quick. Shifting is really nice here. It's got a nice affirmative click when you get into gear. Some bikes are super smooth, so much so that I think when you shift, there isn't a distinctive click, which, if you've been riding for a long time, it doesn't really matter. But again, these are just positive things to me for an entry-level motorcycle. Now, we're not on the nicest of roads, especially here in California. We've got your potholes and your road undulations and imperfections, and this bike handles them really nicely. I don't feel any pain in the wrists, and I don't think that you would for a while. Again, it depends on how tall you are, how short you are, how far you're actually leaning forward because of how your body type. But for me, this is something and in a riding position that I'm going to be comfortable in for a good stretch. I would say like 1 or 2 hours. And with a gas tank, and I'll put the gas tank specs here where it is, you're not going to be riding for all that long anyway, so you're good. As far as handling goes, we haven't gotten into any real crazy turns here. There's going to be a turn coming up here on this demo route, so we will get an idea of how it handles in a good turn, but also there should be a little stretch here where we can really test the acceleration on the Trident 660. All in all, a fun bike. This power is very linear. I don't feel super torquey even in the standard road mode. So throttle response is good. The letting out the clutch is in a good place. You know, sometimes I think clutches end up letting out early or late, and this one's a pretty standard. Lets out right in the middle. The thing I love about these little bikes is how maneuverable they are, right? We can get around in traffic. They're super narrow, so you can split lanes if that's legal where you live. And just being able to maneuver this bike, especially in like an urban situation where you've got lots of cars, people opening doors, having to make last second and split second decisions, this bike is going to be really good for that. And like I said, we'll be able to really test it out here coming up. There's a nice kind of an S turn, so we'll really get an idea there. Let's try and get to the front of this. Oh no, light turned green. Yeah, so the ABS there, I had to stop fairly quickly there, and ABS was nice. For me, ABS on a lighter bike is nice. It's more important on a heavier bike to me, because in a heavier bike, if you start going into a skid, it gets really worrisome as far as like losing the bike or getting into like a low side crash. But this ABS is nice on here, and it's hello. All right, I guess you're just gonna go. We are in Southern California here at the IMS, so yeah, we are have an abundance of not the world's best drivers here in California, especially in Southern California. For those of you who ride who aren't super strong and maybe always wondering about bike weight, this bike not only feels nimble when you're riding it, but even at a stop here, it doesn't feel. I don't feel like I'm going to be overcome by the weight of this motorcycle. All right, getting into this stretch here where we can whip the bike around a little bit. So I did hit my heel there on the rear passenger peg, which stung a little bit. So I mean, that's something to think about. And the passenger pegs are not up anymore, so that was just the you might take those off. Oh, you're ruining this turn here for me, buddy. All right, well, wasn't able to get into this at a very high rate of speed, but riding motorcycles like this before, you're gonna be fine. All right, guys, so we're coming to the end of this ride, and instead of extending this video out longer than it needs to be, this is the point where I say, if you guys got any questions regarding the Trident 660, make sure you leave them in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them, and if I can't answer them with my own brain power, I will go out and find that answer. All right, it's a little stretch here. We're gonna let this guy get out in front of me a little bit, and here we go. All right, yeah. Is this bike overwhelming as far as power goes, or as far as really just giving it a nice spirited go at the throttle? I think you're going to be good as far as entry-level motorcycle. It might feel a little underwhelming as far as experienced riders go. You probably want to be looking like a speed triple or a street triple if you're looking at Triumph motorcycles. I was going to try and get around these people, but our turn is right here. So yeah, I would recommend this bike though as an entry-level motorcycle, and just for somebody, I think if you're just looking for a good value motorcycle, this bike has some pretty good features. Like I said, I love the styling of this bike. That's a big plus for me. As far as like not getting bored with how a bike looks, or thinking like I want to move on, I don't know if that's a thing other than just for me. All right. Yeah, so I mean, again, that's about as good of a twist as I can get without, you know, feeling like I'm going to be unsafe out here. And this bike is fun. It's a fun motorcycle. I'm not going to get all excited about something that I'm not head over heels for. So just a good solid entry as far as the 2021 Triumph Trident goes. Would recommend. So guys, if you like this video, found it helpful, make sure you hit that thumbs up down there, which is the like button. And if you haven't already, smash that subscribe button. Guys, if you're out there riding, please be safe. Be kind to one another. My name is Eric. I'm that one guy. And I am out.